Some motherfuckers, the Torre Attack is one of the most aggressive ways to play with the Queen's Pawn. And today I'm going to show us a game of Nihal Sarin, who made a clear, yes, a clear idea of a pawn sacrifice to open files to attack the Black King. So let's show us the game, and I hope that you can apply that in your own games. Okay, he opens with d4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, and e5. So the Torre Attack is like the call system, but with the bishop on g5, or like the London system, but with the bishop on g5. And now white is going to place the pawns on e3, c3, and the knight on d2. And it's like a London, like a call, but Torre Attack is with the bishop on g5, which is also aggressive, this line. Bishop e7, knight d2, a6, go back with the bishop, d5, e3. So white is placing the pieces like I told. And here, okay, let's stop a little bit to understand how black should play against Torre Attack, because maybe you want to learn how to play with black too, not only with white. Here, his opponent, who have a long name who is difficult to pronounce, uh, he plays b6, who is not my favorite move. It's a typical move, but I prefer to go directly with knight d7, followed by c5, because black spent many moves without anything, and during that time, white creates a huge attack in the king side. So I think that here black should react fast with knight b7, c3, and here c5, just breaking fast the center. Bishop e2, short castle, and now a5. I really like. Knight d5, for example, takes knight d7, takes f4, typical move c4, reaching c5 with the knight, e4 important breakthrough, knight c5, take, and this position is more or less equal. I think that black should react like, yes, everything, of course, this line is not forced, but a possible continuation. But okay, his opponent played b6, which not horrible, but I don't really like so much with c3. And here, his opponent goes for castle, showing his cards. I'm not a huge fan of this move. And here, Nihal Sarin plays with bishop d3, with a clear idea of attack. Rook g1 here was another possibility, just to show us how sharp this is this line. That white is just playing g4, g5 in the following moves. But black have a good defense here with knight f7 to trade this bishop and avoid g4, e5 attacking the knight. If, okay, white can take and g4, g5, but here black more or less managed to defend well. Or bishop g3 and bishop f4 was another option, followed by, of course, by d4, g5, g5, h4, h5, and attack with everything. But Nihal plays bishop d3. I really like this move. Mm, And after bishop b7, who is a mistake, now we saw the real Nihal Sarin idea in this Torre Attack, and that's the idea that I want that you pay attention on that. After black developed the bishop to b7, just not losing a tempo, but this is not making so much. Like I think that he should react with c5 early. Here, Sarin employs a very good move to attack with energy, with bishop takes f6. Just trading the dark square bishop, just keeping his good bishop, and now the h file and g file are open for attack with the pawns. Bishop takes f6, and now very good move, h4. Now the white idea is simple, just g4, g5, and attack the black king. And it's not clear what black can do to counter that, because c5 doesn't go to anywhere. After c5, for example, white can just play g4, and if you take here, it doesn't matter. Okay, white can recapture with pawn, or maybe with c. And if you play c4, we can just go back to b1 to play queen c2. So c5 doesn't make nothing. His opponent tried knight d7, but doesn't work too. The best move here to defend was g6. That's the best defense. And knight d5, bishop takes, bishop a6, trying to trade this bad bishop for this good bishop. Very common move in this typical London, Torre, call, this type of structure with the bishop on d3. Bishop c2, of course, keeping bishop. This bishop is better, is attacking the king, so you can never trade these bishops. Knight d7, c5, f4, sorry, knight c5, knight d3, knight d4, queen c1, and here white is better, but d6 was the best defense for black. Instead of that, he is still developing the pieces so normal. The huge problem of black in this position either he make a two normal play and two passive play. For example, first b6 two normal, bishop b7, so castle, knight b7 here. So the huge problem of black is that he's just developing normal the pieces, but this doesn't lead to anywhere. Why have a clear attacking plan and I don't know what is black doing. Okay, now very good move by Nihal in g4, just following his plan. For example, let's see what happens if black tries to break the center with e5. Here we have g5, e4, g takes, f, g takes, rook e8 and knight f1, and white is better here. So he estimated normal moves with rook e8, he never breaks. And finally comes the move g5. Very good move. This is a pawn sacrifice, but doesn't matter the pawn because after black tries everything and takes on d5, now the h file and the g5 are going to be open. So after a long castle, and the second rook is coming to attack, and black is keep with these two pieces who is not making nothing, and white is going to have these two pieces completely active. So g5 very good move. Black should just take here, take, and now let's stop in this position because black now have an extra pawn, but let's see the difference between the pieces, and the d3 bishop is so much better than the b7. Okay, the knights can look that are more or less similar, but after a possible c4, knight f3, knight g5, this knight is going so active. And the huge difference is the rooks, because the rook is in the open h5, and this second rook, okay, for the moment is on a1, but in 3 moves, the rook is going to be on g1, attacking the black king soon. And the black rooks are not making nothing for the moment. So that's why white is better, because the attacks came so fast. The problem is that here Sarin plays queen f3. Okay, can looks like it's the most natural move because you are just giving the d1 square for long castle and playing rook g1. But the problem is that here black made a very good defense that later we're going to see. But first I want to show us the best move of white with queen a4. The in principle idea of queen a4 is that first, you are attacking the knight. You are winning a tempo against the knight. And after c6, for example, you can defend with rook d8, but we're going to make the same c6, defending the knight. Now we go to long castle. And white plan is just f4, knight f3, and knight g5, just winning the game with an incredible attack. Uh, g6 was, for example, is c5, just f4 too. It takes and rook d g1, just open the files and placing the rooks in the open file and this is operating the long diagonal. Queen f6 and now e4, very good move. And now the knight comes to the attack. Black should sacrifice a rook because if not is completely losing, and here white is winning. So black best defense was d6. That's the only moves to defend for, well, to try to hold for black, but white is still winning f4 and knight f3. That's the huge idea of the move queen a4. Win a tempo, you can castle fast, and then win at another tempo with f4, knight f3, g5. Was always easier if you develop the pieces with tempos. Of course, can look like the queen on e4 is bad place for the attack, which is true. But then the queen is coming to c2 and to h2 fast, but the most important is just win this important tempo against the knight on d7. Just and can go fast so long castle. That's more important. Because the queen on f3, okay, I'm going to show us the end of this line, sorry, d6, f4, knight f3, and now the best move for black, the only move to try to maintain, just to hold in the game, was king g7, knight g5, and here rook h8, takes, but takes queen a7, and now white has take back the pawn, and white is completely winning here, bishop c8, rook g1, and white is just winning. The problem of the move bishop, queen f3 of Nihal Sarin is okay, can look like the queen is more or less in the attacking side, but now black have this good plan of king f8, just going out of the danger with king e7. And here we saw that the queen was better placed on a4 because after some king f8, white have the idea. No, okay, now you cannot take the knight, for example, but after c6, long castle, king f8, white have ideas of give the check on e3. So it's strange, but the queen is attacking better on e4, who is completely far from the king, than on f3. Because the queen on e4, apart of winning a tempo against the knight, anticipates the move king f8 with, sorry, anticipates the move king f8 with some queen h3 checks. So what's strange that visual, the queen was farther than the farther of the black king on a4, but really is attacking more the queen on a4 than on f3. It was so strange. Now his opponent make a very good defense with king f8, long castle and king e8. White is still having advantage, but now it's not so clear than in the previous move with queen e4. Rook d1, good move, queen f3, queen e3, maintaining pieces, just rook c8, defending the pawn. Here, rook h7 first was slightly better. Knight f3, g6, rook h4, rook h8, rook g4. Nihal's plan now is clear. He have only one option, which is sacrifice on f7 and then take on g6. That's the Nihal's only idea in this position. So it's not bad, but it's his only house. Because now black have no consolidate so much his pawn, but black now is more or less solid. Rook a6, knight g5. From here, he plays queen e7, which is not the best. A5 here was interesting. Rook d1, rook c6. Of course, it's not easy to play e5 in this position, but this move was interesting. Rook d1, he takes f4, f6, knight f3, bishop takes. Can look scary, of course, with black entering all this line. But this okay, it's a computer line, but e5 was awesome. But okay, he plays queen d7, and now Nihal makes his only plan, which sacrifice the knight. And now the position is equal according to the machine. Of course, it's so difficult because again, Sarin have a piece down and Black have the open king, but the machine say that the position is equal. Queen takes, bishop d6, queen f6, bishop c2. And here, mm, his opponent make a mistake with e5, open the position, which is a bad idea, especially because the rook is landing on g7 and now f4 is coming. Here was better just give the pawn and then give another piece. For example, rook d7 here doesn't work because it has king gate. So queen c7 was only move, and we're going to see many times in the game that this black defense was give the piece up. And here very good move, rook h1, just giving the b7 bishop. Okay, this doesn't work because the rook is pinned. You cannot take the queen. So okay, here f4 was the best move, followed by bishop e4 with equal. But if queen b7, just winning back the piece, you can just take, and queen f2, incredible move. You are allowing black to play rook b7, but you cannot take the piece because this is checkmate by black. So black best defense was just give up the piece, give the c7 pawn, give the b7 bishop, and take the initiative, and be the player who attacks. And b5 and a6 was useful moves because in some lines white is checking the game with bishop a4. But okay, rook h8 was the best move here in the position, the only move to equal. But after e5 is a mistake because you are open the position rook d7. Now okay, d takes was possible, but f4 very good move of Nihal Sarin. It takes, and now f5 is the next move. King c6. Now he break with e4 with c4, sorry. But queen f3 was stronger, preparing rook g6, and black have no good way to defend the threat rook g6 winning the queen. The problem of c4 is that here black have this idea of again give up the piece and try to play active. It's on recurring when you have a piece up and your opponent is attacking you. Sometimes your best move was just give the piece and give the piece back, give the piece back and try to play active. Okay, can look like and white at least apart up. For example, after bishop a6, it takes rook here. White have two pawns up, not only after recover the piece, white is still having two pawns up, but the d4 pawn is going to fall, and now is the white king who is more open than the black king. So here bishop a6, very good defensive resource to go to b7 with the king. Looks so natural, but after here he just take on with queen d4, but just look like the c6 open king is going to beat checkmate early. C takes, queen takes, rook d1, he takes rook h1, but just check. But for that reason I told that 7 moves ago, the moves a6 or b5 are useful because after bishop a4 you always have b5 or something like that. b5 now, but now rook d6, queen c3, and before checkmate with the pawn, a beautiful checkmate, which was fine to checkmate your opponent with the pawn. And I really like this attacking game of Nihal Sarin. He plays so aggressive and But okay, the most important thing that I want that you learn was how to develop all the attack first. Okay, first the good placement of the pieces was like this. Mm, this so typical placement of the pieces after you play bishop g5 and attack. And now I really like this idea of just give the bishop. Uh, 3 moves ago, black, 4 moves ago, white goes to h4 after h6, and now he in 2 tempos he takes on f6, but with a clear idea of h4, g4, g5. Isn't so difficult for black to find an active plan against that. So here g5, and I really like this sacrifice. And now the most important moment I think that is queen e4 here. I really like this move. First, because you are attacking faster because you are developing with a tempo, and, because you are attacking the knight. But another important thing is that the queen was better placed to attack on e4 than on e3 because have the queen e3 idea. So I really like this attacking game of Nihal Sarin, and I hope that you learn how to attack with the Torre Attack. Let's see you in the next videos. Bye bye.